A very fresh and a very wonderful morning. How are you all, my dear students? We are back with English subject for class ninth. Myself Zainab Kagdi from Atmiya Green School, Jadeshwar, Bharuch. So today we are going to continue the lesson. That is lesson number 7, the last leaf. So dear students, I hope you understood the half of the story, which is wonderful story which gives us a lot of lessons from the two friends Sue and John C. So here we will come across uh, the remaining part of the lesson. Before that, we will just have a quick review of what we have studied till now. So this is from the moments unit 7, the last leaf, and it is the autumn season and the wind is blowing extremely hard and it is raining heavily. All the leaves on an ivy creeper had fallen except one. Why doesn't the last leaf fall? This is the question which is asked by John C. throughout the lesson. Here is a story of two roommates whose name is Sue and John C. The two young girl artists. They shared a small flat, and the flat was a three-stored building. So on the third story of an old house, these two girls lived there. And John C, one of the artists, she fell seriously ill in November and she had pneumonia. For that, she lied on her bed without moving. She had lost all the hopes. She thought all the negative stuff. She thought that I will be dying soon, as she had no willpower to live again, to have a successful and healthy life. So, for that reason, she just kept on gazing outside the window. While Sue, her friend, she was very much worried because of Johnsy. She sent for the doctor also. He used to give him regular medicines, but still there was no change in the condition of Johnsy, just because she had no willpower left to live. One day the doctor Sue, so this was the story. We'll just cut it short. And then one day the Johnsy used to motivate her by whistling while painting. She had also brought that table into his room. She had also brought that table into her bedroom. So she found that the Johnsy is counting backwards. That is 12, 11, 10, 8. So she asked the reason. So she said that look at the old ivy creeper climbing halfway up the brick wall opposite their window. And in the strong wind there were hundreds of leaves there, but now only 5 is left, which is also going to fall. So she thought that once the last leaf falls, that means I am going to sleep forever, I'm not going to live for longer. So hearing this, Sue was very much worried that what is she saying? How could she say like that? She was worried that if the last leaf fell, she would be sleeping for a long time. So she promised that this will not happen. Then she took the help of the Bearman who lived on the ground floor. He was a 60-year-old painter and his lifelong dream was to paint a masterpiece, but that had remained a dream only. So Sue poured out her worries to Bearman that my friend Johnsy is like behaving this way and she's talking all negatively and she has lost all her hopes. So kindly help us. So Bearman said that is she stupid? How can she be so foolish? Think that she's going to die just as the old creeper is the leaves of the old creeper is falling. That doesn't mean she would die when the last leaf falls. So she's running high temperature, complains you. She refuses to eat or drink, and that worries her a lot. So if she eats well, if she drinks the soup on regular basis, if she takes the medicines on right time, then definitely she would be completely all right. But she has kept her mind. She has made her mind that I'm going to die, I'm going to die, I'm not going to be healthy anymore. So that things is making her lose all the hopes. And for that reason, even the medicines are not being helpful to her. So the Bearman asked, was agreed to help her. He said that I'll come with you and see Johnsy. They tiptoed into the room. Johnsy was already sleeping. Sue drew the curtains together and they went to the next room. She peeped out through the window. There was only one leaf on the creeper. It was raining heavily, and an icy cold wind was blowing. It seemed as though the leaf would fall any minute. Okay, so John C. woke up next morning. In a feeble voice, she asked Sue to draw the curtains. Sue drew back the curtains very reluctantly. She was worried that if there is no leaf there, then what will happen to Sue? Sorry, what will happen to John C.? Oh, Sue exclaimed as she looked at the vine creeper. Look, there is still one leaf left on that ivy creeper. It looks quite green and healthy. In spite of the storm and fierce winds, it didn't fall. It didn't fall. It I heard the wind last night, said Johnsy. I thought it would have fallen. It will surely fall today. Then I'll die. You won't die, said Sue energetically. You have to live for your friends. What would happen to me if you die? Johnsy smiled weakly and closed her eyes. After every hour or she would look out of the window and find that the leaf is still there. It seemed to be clinging to the creeper. In the evening there was another storm, but the leaf did not fall. Johnsy lay for a long time looking at the leaf. Then she called out to Sue. I have been a bad girl. You have looked after me so lovingly, and I have not cooperated with you. I have been depressed and gloomy. So here she gives the reason that I have been depressed and gloomy, and for that reason I was haunted with lots of negativity. The last leaf has shown me that how wicked I have been. I have realized that it is a sin to want to die. So it is literally a sin to feel that and to have the desire to die. So Sue hugged Johnsy. Then she gave her lots of hot soup and a mirror. Johnsy combed her hair and smiled brightly. In the afternoon, the doctor came. After examining his patient, he told Sue, Johnsy now has the will to live. I am confident she will recover soon, and now I must go downstairs and see Bearman. He is also suffering from pneumonia, but I am afraid there is no hope for him. So here you can see, dear students, that Sue hugged Johnsy, and she comforted her a lot. She gave her healthy food, she gave her energy, she gave her lots of motivation to live, and for that reason she was confident that she is going to be well. But what about Bearman? Bearman is an old fellow, and he was also was suffering from pneumonia, but his chances to recover were less as because of his age. The next morning, Sue came and sat on Johnson's bed. Taking Johnson's hand in hers, she said, I have something to tell you. Mr. Bearman died of pneumonia this morning. He was ill for only 2 days. The first day, the janitor found him on his bed. His clothes and shoes were wet, and he was shivering. He had been out in that stormy night. Then they found a ladder and a lantern still lighted lying near his bed. There were also some brushes and green and yellow paints on the floor near the ladder. Johnsy dear, said Sue, look out of the window. Look at that ivy leaf. Haven't you wondered why it doesn't flutter when the wind blows? That's Bearman's masterpiece. He painted it the night the last leaf fell, written by O. Henry. So, dear students, you can see that that fellow, that Bearman, that old fellow, he had painted that last leaf. That leaf had already fallen, but he painted it so well that it looked as if it is a real one. But it did not flutter when the wind came. So, just because of that leaf, Johnsy had the hope to live. Just as that leaf had survived, she thought that it survived. Actually, that last leaf also fell. But she thought that just as that leaf had survived, similarly, she can also survive. Excuse me. So, for that reason, that gave her some hope to live. For that reason, she smiled brightly and she looked upon to live further and positively. And living positively helped her to cope up with the disease she had, and she became well, fit, and fine. So that was a story written by O. Henry. Here we are only having one glossary, that is janitor, a person whose job is to look after a building. So that's all for the lesson. I hope you understood the story. We'll discuss its question answers in our next live session or in our next video. So kindly reread. This is a supplementary reading. I repeat, you need to read it on your own and understand and comprehend the lesson. So this lesson gives us that how a single ray of hope, though it is artificial, but it gives us lots of hope to live our life. Just as we saw in the, just as we saw with the Johnsy, that she had made her mind. Yeah, you can see in the picture the last leaf. This is the Bearman and this is the Sioux. She's standing there. So you can see that how if when we get sick, okay, when we are deprived of something, we feel all the negative stuff, we become depressed and we become very anxious and we start thinking all the negative things, that this is going to not going to happen, nothing is going to be all right. uh, then I'm going to die. Let me die. There is no hope to live. There is no reason for me to live. We always think like that. But we should not think like that. But we should always think positively in our life. And that positivity definitely will bring the good results in our life. Okay, the thought which we think is directly reflects our personality, and that reflects our action in our day-to-day life. So when any of your friend is in need, so kindly provide them this help. If the Sioux did not help Johnsy would have definitely died that night itself, thinking that I will die when the last leaf will fall. So the last leaf had already fallen, but because of the Behrman's masterpiece, that he painted the leaf so well that she couldn't recognize that it is an artificial one, but it is a real one. She thought that it's a real one, and she kept thinking that if the leaf can survive this stormy winds, this heavy rainfall, then why can't I? If that one leaf can survive and can fight alone, then why can't I? She kept thinking like that, and that helped her and motivated her to stay positive and to live a healthy life. That gave her a hope to live, that gave her a willingness to live. So, for that, the medicines worked. She started taking proper diets, that is, proper soups, and she started eating well, and that helped her to recover as soon as possible. So, here we can get a very positive and very inspirational moral from this story. I hope you understood the story. I again repeat, you need to read it on your own. Then you need to write the glossary, that is only one is there. Then we will move up to the question answers, that is, what is Johnson's illness? What can cure her? The medicine or the willingness to live? We all know the answer. So I request you to write these question answers on your own. I will be giving you the answers, but later. First, you write it on your own. First, comprehend the story. Try to develop the writing skill. Yeah, this is your homework. First, in our live session, we will discuss its question answers. Do you think the feeling of depression John C. has is common among the teenagers? Question 3 is, Behrman has a dream. What is it? Did it came true? Does it come true? Question 4 is, what is Behrman's masterpiece? What makes you say so? Because he made such a masterpiece, it was his dream, and he made such a wonderful painting that nobody could recognize, not even you, that it was a painting, not the leaf. So, have you ever felt depressed and rejected? How did you overcome such feelings? Share your experience with your classmates. So here we all have that hard time. We all have good time. The hard time is followed with the good time, and good time ends with the hard time. So here we need to think that we should be contented when it is a good time, and we should keep patience when it is a bad time. We should not give up. We should not let the negative thoughts um, uh, overpower us, try to control us, but we should keep on thinking the positive results. We should not, and we should never leave the hope. So that is talk about is should be written by you. So that is all for the lesson. I hope you understood the story, you enjoyed the story. We'll discuss its question answers through the PDF.